It started as a routine preseason tune-up, but somewhere between the tip-off and the final buzzer, Atlanta turned into a warning label. A lone whistle sliced through the crowd after Caitlin Clark gently skipped the ball off the stanchion. Boop, technical foul.
Another turnover. Atlanta on a 10-3, make it 12-3 run.
No yelling, no chest pounding, just a competitor venting steam. 5 minutes later, she was airborne for a layup when Rhyne Howard barreled through, shoulder to ribs. Clark hit the hardwood, the building gasped, and the officials swallowed every bit of brass in their pockets. In a league chasing relevance, had the Zebras just tried to muzzle their own megastar? But that quick whistle and that silent one were only the opening bell. Momentum in basketball changes quickest when physics meets psychology, and that night both turned on a dime. Clark answered the technical the only way a shooter knows, by torching nylon from 27 feet.
That's Caitlin Clark, top of the key.
The bench jumped, the crowd flipped, and suddenly it felt like the Fever were playing 5-on-8. Fans could practically read her face. If the whistle's against me, the scoreboard isn't. Yet the real current flowed underneath. Twitter feeds lit up with slow-mo replays, bloggers screaming double standard, and highlight channels pumping side-by-side clips. Clark teed up for a bounce, Diana Taurasi barking in a ref's ear with nothing but a warning. The conversation was already bigger than one preseason game. It was about who got to show emotion and who didn't. And the Atlanta clip was just one tile in a mosaic of bruises that stretched back 12 months.
Why is that? New year, Caitlin Clark still getting assaulted though, bruh.
Last year alone, Clark wore 5 flagrant fouls, 17% of every flagrant called in the entire wnba. 4 of those came courtesy of Chicago, a team that treated the rookie like an honorary tackling dummy.
Clark, hammer.
She was hip-checked into LED boards, clotheslined at half court, and once blindsided 40 feet from the rim on what should have been a dead play. None of it slowed her scoring binge, but the tape told an ugly story. Bruises so deep they showed through compression sleeves, a sprained wrist iced between quarters, red welts blossoming like fingerprints. Coaches whispered that slapping a star early could set the tone. Color commentators brushed hard hits off as playoff physical. And every time Clark picked herself up, a new meme formed. Sometimes praising her grit, sometimes mocking her winces. Physical intimidation wasn't new to the league, but targeting the rookie who juiced up ratings felt different, like cracking the golden goose to prove you could.
And Clark. I mean, that's clearly...
Yet goose or not, the cash registers were ringing. And that created a brand new paradox. Here's the math the boardroom stares at. National broadcasts featuring Indiana averaged 1.18 million viewers. The rest of the slate managed 394,000. Sponsorship spend jumped double digits. Ticket resellers flipped Fever road games for NBA-level markups, and souvenir stands ran out of number 22 jerseys by halftime. The WNBA, once aching for eyeballs, suddenly found itself the trendiest property on every media deck. Clark's play coincided with a record-setting season, highest aggregate attendance, biggest streaming surge, and the first year since the 90s with a dozen games topping the magic million viewer mark. When a 23-year-old guard bends graphs like that, she isn't a player. She's a market force. And still, somehow, protection whistles lagged behind the profit curve.
Step back triple.
Advertisers loved the flair, but purists griped about too much hype. League brass sold out arenas, yet referees kept the same lenient guidelines that once policed half-empty gyms. The disconnect felt surreal. Would you let someone body slam your ticket to relevance just to prove neutrality? Money, though, isn't the only fuel for resentment. Ego is combustible too, and veterans felt the heat. Basketball prides itself on a pecking order. Rookies are supposed to sweep floors with their minutes until elders nod approval. Clark walked in and rewired the hierarchy in 8 weeks, dropping logo threes and 10 assist nights as if she'd booked the league on her own calendar. Some vets celebrated the spotlight, others bristled at questions that suddenly started with, "So about Caitlin?" Scroll any comment thread and fissures appear. Overhyped because she's white, getting hacked because she talks smack, media darling who hasn't paid dues, actually saving every paycheck on the roster. Truth sits somewhere among the shouts, but the decibel level tells its own tale. Change is uncomfortable.
Lexi Hull getting downhill, finds the bucket and one.
Angel Reese jawed at Clark from day one, turning college rivalry into televised theater. Aja Wilson praised the rookie's audacity, but wondered aloud if the fame wave would fade. Older guards pulled the respect the game card. Kids in the bleachers copied Clark's step back during halftime shoot-arounds. The league had split into those defending an era and those sprinting toward the next one, and Clark became the flag everybody grabbed. Yet no rivalry cuts deeper than the one between a superstar and the whistle tethered to her ankles. Referees insist they call what they see, but perception counts more than intent when millions freeze-frame your every shrug. After the Atlanta fiasco, sports radio switchboards melted with callers screaming bias. Pundits rolled montage packages. Clark hammered at the rim. No call. Clark taps a knee in frustration. Immediate tech. Big-name analysts openly asked if officials were protecting veteran egos at the cost of ratings.
I can't believe this is right, but it is right, folks. And I hope we know why Caitlin Clark got that T now, right? Caitlin Clark in the preseason, 29 points with 0 free throw attempts. What is happening?
League office memos leaked about reinforcing flagrant standards, regardless of player profile. Yet the next week saw Clark absorb another shoulder block without even a side-court huddle. The inconsistency birthed conspiracy. Was the WNBA reluctant to appear preferential? Or was the old guard inside league ops quietly nudging the newbie back in line? Refs remained silent, their unions citing policy. Fans filled that silence with scorching theories, and each unanswered question became social media kerosene. Officials aren't villains, they're human. But when a human's call can cost millions in sponsorship goodwill, humanity isn't the shield it used to be. Through it all, Clark did the one thing numbers cannot debate. She played. Rookie of the Year, votes turned to a formality months before the ballots printed. Clark closed her first campaign averaging 22-7-8, led the league in assists, and posted the first 2 rookie triple-doubles in WNBA history. She broke the single-season rookie scoring record, drilled 122 triples, and carved out highlight packages that ran during NBA halftimes.
That resonates the most. She's the face of the league and can't get a single whistle.
More telling than stats, however, was her response rhythm. Hard foul, deep three. Trash talk, eye contact dime. Technical, grin at the scorer's table followed by a 25-footer that landed like poetic justice. Teammate Aaliyah Boston called it weaponized patience. Wait for the hit, then retaliate mathematically. By August, her game looked like Steph Curry's range fused with Pete Maravich's creativity, plus the sturdy shoulders of someone who's dragged entire sports into relevance since high school. Injuries loomed. A sprained ankle here, a bruised hip there, but she kept logging 30-plus minutes. Each time she resurfaced, arenas sold out faster. And outside those arenas, a media cyclone formed, because basketball was only half the story. A week after the regular season ended, Clark visited a Manhattan elementary school. Nike streamed it on TikTok, and 4.6 million views pinged in 24 hours. Gatorade dropped a limited edition C22 bottle that sold out before dinner. HBO greenlit a docuseries chronicling her rookie season. For every elbow she took on the court, 10 brands wrapped her in checks off it. Yet celebrity is a double-edged crossover. Old tweets were dredged, classmates interviewed, wardrobe choices dissected. Fans argued whether she should build super teams or stay loyal to Indiana. Every handshake line became frame-by-frame material. Every shrug potential disrespect. Some nights she looked equal parts point guard and Avalanche. That scrutiny touched everyone around her. Fever rookies fielded more press than some MVPs. Opponents celebrated if they held her under 20, as though containing a single player validated entire franchises. The league's marketing office loved it, but players whispered burnout. With that hurricane overhead, the calendar flipped to a fresh season, and the forecast hinted at thunder. The sophomore slate opens against Chicago, the very team that bruised her most. Angel Reese has vowed no easy layups. Paige Buchers enters the league as Dallas's new prodigy, setting up dueling highlight reels every week. Rule committees are quietly discussing harsher flagrant one thresholds and automatic tech reviews for off-ball hits. unofficially dubbed the Clark clauses. Broadcasters already pre-sold ad spots for National Fever games. Vegas books list Clark as a top 3 MVP candidate. She spent the offseason adding muscle and perfecting a left-hand step back to open passing lanes when defenders overplay her right. If last year was proof of concept, this year is stress test. How many hits can a revolution absorb before it splinters? Or before it forces the entire system to evolve around it? Whatever that answer is, it leads to one final point. When the horn faded in Atlanta, Clark dusted herself off, smiled toward the rafters, and jogged back on defense. No grandstanding, no tantrum, just a silent invitation. Try to stop me, I dare you. The league tried intimidation. She answered with ratings. Players tried bruises. She answered with buckets. Refs tried whistles. She answered with history. Basketball has always changed one generational talent at a time. Dr. J punching air, MJ defying gravity, Steph stretching geometry. Clark's contribution isn't flight or range alone, it's resistance. She thrives on it, metabolizes it into three-pointers and back-page headlines. And every time she does, she drags women's hoops another yard toward the mainstream. So the next time a ref pockets a whistle or a defender loads up a cheap shot, remember this: you can't cage momentum. You can only decide whether you want to ride it or get flattened. Caitlin Clark already made her choice, and it sounds like net strings snapping in an arena too loud to hear the doubters.